Hello everybody, welcome to Also Rusty Buckets, and also welcome to Hot Take Sundays. Yeah, I decided to move this series over from Tuesday to Sunday because the way I'm doing the schedule on this channel is that I'm going to do a post-game reaction every day except for Sunday, because I want Sunday to be like an off day for me, and just have Rudy edit this video, and all I have to do that day for this channel is upload it. And it didn't make sense to be doing these on Tuesdays and then also doing a post-game reaction, so I was like, I might as well just put the Hot Take videos on the one day of the week that I'm not going to be uploading on this channel, which is Sunday. Also, as for why I did not do a post-game reaction yesterday, the two games that I watched were blowouts, and the third game I was kind of late to it, and it was close enough. It was Jazz versus Heat, and I was like, that could be an interesting game, but I really don't feel like watching it. I want to do something else, so I just did that. I didn't feel like I didn't feel like the games I had watched were enough for content, and I didn't feel like watching the last game, so I was like, I'm just not going to do it. So that's the reason there was no post-game reaction the other day. But today we are doing hot takes, and let's just get into it. Zach LaVine could be a top 5 Bull when he retires. Well, I mean, it's not like the competition is that steep. There's obviously Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Artis Gilmore, Derrick Rose, and then after that, I mean, Jerry Lucas, I think the other guy's name is Bob Love. Those are the other two players who have their jerseys retired by the Bulls. I mean, Zach LaVine, would he be a better Bull all time than Dennis Rodman? Or I'll be honest, I know nothing about the Bulls basically previous to Michael Jordan other than Artis Gilmore. So, I mean, I do think he can be a top 5 Bull all time, especially if he plays the rest of his career in Chicago. And I don't think he's that far out of the conversation right now. Also, Jimmy Butler, of course, I forgot to mention him. But if, Zach LaVine plays 8 seasons in Chicago and averages like 25 points per game over those 8 seasons, then yeah, he's probably a top 5 Bull of all time. Steph Curry is the most impactful offensive player of all time. Correct. You can make the argument, and I would as well, that there are probably better offensive players than Stephen Curry, but impactful on the other hand. I mean, I guess for me, I've split them into two different camps because I don't know. It feels weird saying it, but like it feels like they're two different things. But like Steph Curry's gravity, which his haters love to pretend doesn't exist, but it absolutely does. That just makes his value to a team's offense so much more than the fact that he can also average 30 points per game on 65% true shooting. So on top of the fact that he can just score at a ridiculous volume on insane efficiency, that's not even the number one thing that makes me say he has that offensive value, because then he's an elite playmaker, not because his ability to pass is all that amazing, but rather that the spacing and the gravity that he creates just makes plays so much easier, makes playmaking so much easier. So Steph is probably the most impactful offensive player of all time, and maybe even the greatest offensive player of all time overall, if you want to just argue that impact matters overall, which I kind of agree with. So yeah, Steph Curry, greatest, most impactful offensive player of all time in my opinion. Tyrese Haliburton has the potential to be the best player in the draft and be a Chris Paul type of player with his high IQ. No. First of all, I don't think he has prime Chris Paul potential, because that is very fucking good. I believe Tyrese can be an all-star, a perennial all-star caliber player, but I would not push it to Chris Paul levels. But more importantly than that, LaMelo Ball by far has more potential than Tyrese Haliburton, as good as I think Tyrese is. And I mean, I do think he's very good. I'm planning on doing a Kings My NBA series specifically because Tyrese Haliburton is so intriguing as a rookie. But I see so many people acting like LaMelo is like it's a competition between LaMelo and Tyrese, and it's not. It's LaMelo is the best player out of this draft class thus far, and I would wager all the money that I own that he is going to be the best player of this draft after, everyone from this draft's careers are over. D Wade is highly overrated. He had 3 prime seasons, and the rest were just good. James Harden is undoubtedly the 3rd best shooting guard of all time. No. Zach LaVine, it's fucking LeVine, there's no E in his name. Zach LaVine over Donovan and Jaylen Brown. So I'm assuming he means Zach LaVine is better than Donovan Mitchell and Jaylen Brown. No, he's not. He's not. He might be having a better season individually than Donovan Mitchell, because, I mean, he's averaging 28 points on 65% true shooting, which is nuts. But other than that, I still think Donovan Mitchell is a better player. You could argue Zach has had a better season thus far, and honestly, that might be fair enough unless you're taking winning as a huge factor, in which case, obviously, LeVine's losing that one. But he's definitely not better than Jaylen Brown, because Jaylen Brown, to me, has been better than Donovan Mitchell. So, I mean, there you go. And Jaylen Brown, you know, the fact that he's just a great defensive player. He could be elite, but his off-ball defense is rough. But the fact that he's averaging an efficient 25 on a very good Celtics team, I definitely think Jaylen Brown's better than LeVine. I've always kind of felt that way. I didn't think it was as big of a gap until recently, although I guess Zach has elevated his game at the same pace that Jaylen has this season specifically. But yeah, I do believe Zach LaVine is worse than both of those players. Will Chamberlain and Bill Russell are the most underrated and disrespected players in NBA history. No and yes. So no for Wilt Chamberlain, yes for Bill Russell. Wilt Chamberlain is one of the most overrated players in NBA history because his incredible statistics were way better than his actual value was as a player because of how selfish he was and how shot happy he was. I've talked about Wilt Chamberlain a million times, and I believe he's one of the most overrated players of all time because he is consistently ranked in people's top fives when his actual impact on winning, despite the fact that he has the same numbers, is just not the same. And the fact that Wilt Chamberlain won both of his championships when he was reducing his impact on offense and reducing his shot attempts speaks volumes for the fact that his talent was more impactful when he wasn't averaging 35 to 50 points per game. And that's the main reason why people prop him into the top 10 and top 5 category. Bill Russell, on the other hand, absolutely one of the most disrespected players of all time, and I believe to be in the conversation for greatest defensive player of all time. I think Tim Duncan is probably I say Tim Duncan is the greatest defensive player of all time, but really it's because him and Bill Russell were kind of similar defensively, and I just have watched a whole lot more Tim Duncan than Bill Russell because Bill Russell played in the fucking 60s. But to say that two players that are consistently ranked in the top 10 of all time, like almost across the board, are underrated, I would not say that. I just think there are a lot of people who disrespect Bill Russell's actual talent and just act like he was, you know, just a lucky, decent player who just happened to play on one of the greatest franchises ever with a whole bunch of help. And that's not the case. And the next take coming up is going to prove just how disrespected Bill Russell is and was. So Ethan sends me a reply of someone else's tweet from Mark, who says, take away achievements and history, Andre Drummond is probably 10 times the player Bill Russell is. Okay, so I've talked about, like, I think the second to last hot take video I did. I don't even remember what it was, but I said that one of the takes in that video was the dumbest take I'd ever seen. This takes the cake. This takes the cake. Bill Russell's a better rebounder, although if you want to say Andre Drummond's better, I don't fucking care. But Bill Russell is also an incredible leader, an incredible playmaker for a center, and one of the greatest defensive players of all time. Meanwhile, Drummond is okay defensively, not a leader whatsoever, not a playmaker whatsoever, other than he had a kind of a flash of that a little bit on the Pistons in his last year or two there. But other than that, fuck this take. Fuck this take so hard, man. If LeBron James went to the Bulls in 2010, he would be better career-wise. I don't know if that's necessarily true, but as a Bulls fan, I'm just going to say yes, that's definitely 100% true, and there's no bias in that opinion whatsoever. Daniel Gafford has the same ceiling as Joekim Noah. Yeah, I love that this take comes after the start of the Clippers versus Bulls game where he played some of the worst basketball I've ever seen in my fucking life. And the fact that the Bulls have been so much worse with Wendell Carter out and Daniel Gafford starting. The fact that there are still Bulls fans that think Daniel Gafford is anything more than just an all-right backup center boggles my fucking mind. Daniel Gafford is a decent rim protector, a passable rebounder, and a very good lob threat on offense. Other than that, he brings no value whatsoever. And that's not to say that he is not a good player, because he's a decent backup center. And I would like him to stay on this team for a long time because he brings very good energy. But to say that he has Defensive Player of the Year, top 5 MVP candidate level potential, which is what Joakim Noah was, get the fucking fuck out of the fucking here. No, 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 no. Daniel Gafford does not have the same potential as Joekim Noah. First of all, that's disrespectful to Joekim Noah. Second of all, it's overrating Daniel Gafford. Third of all, stop thinking Daniel Gafford is some special talent, because he's not. Wendell Carter is 15 times the player that fucking Daniel Gafford is. And I realize that I've complained about this multiple times already, and 90% of people, 99% of people don't even care about this, but there's a thing within Bulls Twitter where so many people think that Daniel Gafford, because he's more flashy, he'll get a few dunks or he'll block a shot, that makes him a better player than Wendell, just because Wendell is about the more nuanced elements of the game that you actually have to understand basketball to appreciate. It bothers me so much because I know everyone saying it doesn't know jack shit about what they're fucking talking about. I digress. All right, that's it. Shout out to Rudy for editing this video, and bye.